crazy things just kept happening. Has little ghosts on it. But yeah, these were the lowest and highest rated books. Hello my besties and welcome back to my channel. I am always looking for fun ways to get through my physical TBR, so I thought for today's video we could read the lowest and the highest rated book of my physical TBR. I'll be going off of the ratings on Goodreads, and I guess we'll kind of see if I agree with what the people of Goodreads think of these books. I'll screen record so you can see what I'm talking about here, but on my Goodreads, I have a shelf called my Kindle TBR, which has Kindle books that I want to read, and then I have a shelf called my physical TBR, which includes all of the books that I own physically that I have not read yet. And if you go on here, you can order it by average rating. And you can see at the very top here, the highest rated book on my TBR is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. And if you scroll all the way down, you can see that the lowest rated book on my physical TBR is The Love Haters by Catherine Center. The Love Haters has an average of 3.82 stars, which honestly isn't horrible. And then Wild Reverence has an average of 4.56 stars, which is insanely high. This book did just come out, so that could be why, but I have a feeling I'm gonna love it because I loved Divine Rivals by her. So yeah, I have the two books right here. These are actually both arcs, which is kind of funny. This one came out in May of this year and I just haven't gone around to it yet. And then this one just came out on September 2nd. I think it's best that I start with the lower rated book. Also kind of choosing to pick this one because it's definitely more summery, and I'm trying to finish up the summer related books on my TBR before I dive into more fall related ones like this one. So yeah, we're gonna start off reading The Love Haters by Catherine Center. This is gonna be the very first book that I've read by Catherine Center, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about her books, so I really hope I like this one. I actually, earlier on in the year, started this book. It looks like I got to page 47, chapter 5, and then softly DNF'd it because I just wasn't feeling the vibe. But I think I'm gonna start this one over from the beginning because I kind of remember what happened, but I wanna like immerse myself better. I will see you guys when we are reading The Love Haters by Catherine Center. Okay, hey guys, I am now at 50% into The Love Haters. So we're way past where I left off last time I started this book. I lucked out and there was a skip the line copy on Libby, so I was able to get it for my Kindle, which is great because I've just been in such a Kindle mood lately. All I've wanted to do is read on my Kindle. Anyways, I'm finding this book super easy to read. I feel like I'm kind of flying through it. Like I said, this is the first of Catherine Center's books that I've read, so I feel like I've definitely gotten a vibe for how she writes romances. Overall, I'm enjoying it. Our main character, Katie, works for like a film production company that mainly work on advertisements, and she is sent on this project where she has to go out to Key West and film a recruitment video for the Coast Guard. She has to do this to kind of save her career, but she's also terrified because she has a lot of body image issues, and the majority of this project is going to be spent either in a bathing suit. Everything has to be weighed before it can get on a helicopter, so she has to know how much she weighs, all that kind of thing, which I think is something that can be really relatable for women and girls. I'm excited to see her hopefully overcome this. I feel like slowly but surely she already kind of is, so that's nice to see. When her and our mailman character first started flirting a little bit, it cringed me out a tiny bit, but not enough to put the book down. So I'm still seeing it through. And yeah, I think this would be the perfect book to read on the beach or at the pool because it has great summer vibes, and also, like I said, I'm finding it super easy to fly through, and that kind of book is kind of nice for if you're like laying in the sun. But yeah, I might try and finish this book later tonight and then update you guys with my final thoughts. Okay, besties, I have now finished The Love Haters. I read the epilogue this morning, so it's definitely time for an update. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last clip, but what I've heard about Catherine Center's writing is that crazy things like plot twists end up happening towards the end. So while I was reading this book, I was waiting for that to happen, and then something big and crazy happened, and I was like, is this the crazy plot twist? But then crazy things just kept happening. It almost gave me whiplash because like a crazy thing would happen and then it would be resolved seamlessly, and then another crazy thing would happen and then eventually end up getting resolved seamlessly, and it felt like crazy things were happening just for crazy things to happen. So I didn't love that, but I kind of get the vibe that Catherine Center's writing is just a little bit unserious. It goes back to what I said earlier about this being like a perfect read for the beach or the pool. I think all those crazy things definitely helped to make it a page turner, and once I got to that, honestly, second half, that last 50% of the book, I like could not put it down because I was like, what is going on? I think I'll probably rate this book around 3 stars, which I think is actually pretty similar to what people on Goodreads were rating it. Definitely did not dislike this book. I'm maybe a little bit surprised that it's the lowest rated on my TBR because I still thought it was good, but definitely not my personal favorite romance story. I did, however, enjoy the end of the epilogue. I feel like it had a really sweet message. And not gonna lie, throughout the book, some of the messages were a little on the nose, but our main character, Katie, did have the growth that I wanted her to have. And that was like the main message in the end that I ended up enjoying. With the love haters off my TBR, you guys know what time it is. It's time to start Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I'm so excited about this one, but I was looking at it this morning and it's kind of long. Like, it's, how many pages? Can I look without spoiling it for myself is the question. 527, is that acknowledgements? Okay, that's including acknowledgements. We'll just say it's around 527. And the writing in this ARC copy is pretty small font, so that tells me that it's a lot of words, but it's nice and floppy, so it'll be fun to read. I'm gonna have lots of opportunity to listen to an audiobook this week. And I just started Libro FM, which is this really cool app. You can check out, or not check out, buy audiobooks from your local bookstores. So when you create your account, you choose which local bookstore you want to be supporting, and then you get like a monthly credit to pick out an audiobook, and that purchase goes to support your local bookstore. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. I'm so excited, but for starting that account, I got 3 credits for the price of 1. So I'm gonna have 3 books that I can listen to, but I think I'm gonna use one of those credits to get Wild Reverence so that we can do a little bit of reading, a little bit of listening this week. Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. All I know about Wild Reverence is that it is a prequel to the Letters of Enchantment series, Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. And while that duology is a YA duology, I believe this is a YA. And while that duology is a YA duology, I believe this is an adult fantasy book. I think it's a standalone. I don't think it's gonna be a series. So I'm so excited. Today is the first day that it kind of feels like fall outside, so I feel like it is the perfect day to start a fantasy book. Hello besties. I've been reading / listening to bits and pieces of Wild Reverence here and there for the last few days, and I only just got to page 100. I think that was a mix because I didn't have a lot of time to read this week, and unfortunately I was not feeling those vibes of anticipating the next time I could pick this book up, which was a little bit of a bummer because I totally had those feelings when I was reading Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. That was a book that consumed my every waking thought, and all I could think about was when I could keep reading it. I'm not really having those vibes with this book yet, but like I said, I just got to page 100, and at the end of this chapter, something crazy happened. Something really stirred up the plot. So I think I could start having those don't want to put this book down feelings now. I really hope so. Okay, but let's rewind a little bit and talk a little bit about the plot because I actually know what it is now. We're following our main character, Matilda, who is a young goddess, and she is a herald. So she is a messenger goddess. So her duty and her power, essentially, is to send messages. This makes her in the middle court. There's the low court, the middle court, and the high court. And which court you are placed in is based upon the number of constellations that are in the sky when you are born. So there's like some astrological magic going on, which I think is really cool and really interesting. Basically, the more constellations that you have in your horoscope, in your birth chart, the more powerful you will be as a god or a goddess. We have 2 kind of plot lines going on because there are 2 big things happening in Matilda's life. One of which is she is finding herself in this mortal boy whose name is Vincent. She's finding herself in his dreams. and neither of them really know how they're communicating with one another, which I find to be really reminiscent of Divine Rivals. There's a theme of magical communication in that book as well. And the other plot line is following this issue that the gods are having amongst themselves in the underling realm, which is where Matilda lives, and the Skyworld realm, which I feel like is kind of like this book's version of like the underworld and heaven. But anyways, Matilda's mom, Xenia, has gotten herself into some trouble. Xenia is the goddess of winter, and Matilda's gonna like help figure out what's going on. I don't know. I should be able to be a little bit more eloquent after 100 pages, but I fear that's all I have. Oh, also, I did not mention, if a god kills another god, they get to take the god's constellations and add them to their own, so it makes them more and more powerful the more gods that a god kills. But like I said, something crazy just happened, so I am intrigued to keep reading this book. I sit here and read for a little bit before I have to go to work. Hopefully I'll start to find myself more engaged. Hello you guys. To be completely honest, the main reason I'm starting this clip is because I want to show you how cute my new little fall coffee cup from Anthropologie is. It has little ghosts on it. I made myself this little coffee because I really need to sit down and lock in with this book. I've been reading it for so many days and I think I'm only just over 50% now. I'm on chapter 39, page 268. Also, look how cute this bookmark is. Strawberry shortcake. I feel like I've just been reading this book so slowly. I think it's just quite dense because I haven't been reading it slowly because I've been disliking it at all. I'm really engaged in the story, both storylines, and want to know what's happening. So today's also starting to look a little bit gloomy outside. So the vibes are perfect for sitting down with a fantasy book and my fall coffee. So let's get to reading. Guess who finally finished their book? It was me. It was me. I feel like I've been reading this forever. I actually want to check the day I started it. Oh, I guess it hasn't even been a full week. It really felt like longer than that. Anyways, with all that being said, this book was awesome. If I didn't previously mention, it's a prequel to the Letters of Enchantment series, which is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. And in Divine Rivals, the Skyward gods and the Underling gods are in a war, and they're using the mortals kind of as their puppets and their soldiers to fight that war. And the two main characters in Divine Rivals are Iris and Kit, and they're both journalists who end up going to like report on this war. But this book gives us some background into the gods that created this war. Our main character in this book, Matilda, did not create this war, but she had a really cool connection to Divine Rivals, and I absolutely loved that part. That made me so happy to read. Yeah, I think because I loved Divine Rivals so much, I was really anticipating this to be a 5-star read for me. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but it was still like a solid 4-star read. I think I'm gonna rate it 4 stars. We had war, we had gods with astrological magic, found family, and we had a romance that literally felt like Work Song by Hosier. And yeah, the connection to Divine Rivals was just everything to me. So like I said, 4 stars for Wild Reverence. But with this book complete, it's time to wrap up this video. I don't remember if I ever said, but I ended up landing on 3.5 stars for The Love Haters by Catherine Center. I haven't thought about it too much since I finished it. I feel like it's gonna be one that I probably recommend to people to read next summer, since it does have such summery vibes. But yeah, these were the lowest and highest rated books on my physical TBR. On Goodreads, The Love Haters had a rating of 3.81 stars, I believe, and I rated it 3.5. So I think I am pretty in line with what Goodreads rated this book. And then Wild Reverence still has a 4.5 average star rating on Goodreads, which tells me a lot of people are rating it 5 stars, which makes me really happy for all of those people. I wonder if I were to read this at a different time if it would be 5 stars for me, but as of right now, like I said, it was 4 stars. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's video. That was a really fun way to get through a couple of books that were on my physical TBR. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe if you want to, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!